normally you don't think of yachts and planes and things when you're thinking of vacation ownership.
How does that kind of fit within the whole vacation ownership model?
When I first got in the industry, longer than I care to remember ago, the first question we'd ask people is, where do you want to go? Well, that's not the question anymore. What do you want to do? What type of experiences you want? What we found is we call it our 4 pillars. Okay, so our 4 pillars are going to be our aviation, yachts and marinas, luxury residences, and then experiences. So these are our 4 pillars. I can remember back at 9/11, when 9/11 happened, and a very sad time in our history. And there was a large resort right down the street, over 1,000 villas. They were operating after 9/11 at like an 11-12% occupancy rate. Okay, our projects for Marriott and others were still operating at a 70-80% occupancy.
This episode is brought to you by Hamakampai, the first vacation ownership project on the northern coast of Ecuador. Hi everyone, I'm Gaetan Babin and welcome to Voices of Vacation Ownership. It's where we speak with leaders shaping the future of our industry. Now, each episode focuses on ideas that strengthen performance, enhance the owner experience, and basically move our industry forward. Today, I'm joined by Michael Finn. Michael is the Chief Development Officer of Blue Water Group. It's a company operating at the intersection of private aviation, yachts, real estate, high-end travel experiences. Blue Water is part of a growing shift in how travel is being structured, not just as individual trips, but as connected, lifestyle-driven ecosystems. And because of the future of vacation ownership may not just be about where people want to stay, but how they move, access, and experience the world. So Michael, thank you so much for being part of this podcast.
Thank you very much for having me here. This is kind of exciting, and I like the direction and everything that you're going, and what you said makes a lot of sense. I love the term intersection, just in that, we're always at an intersection. There's always something. If we can bring things together, we've got so many more options and what we can do with it.
Well, we've known each other for quite a while. You actually even got me at the Ritz-Carlton one time in Orlando playing golf at that famous golf course. We've had some great times, great conversations over the year, but you're also, also very well respected within the industry because you bring a new angle into it. Private yachts. How does that kind of fit within the whole vacation ownership?
It's a great question, but it's about, we talked about intersection, but it's really the evolution of what we're doing. No longer is our industry about places, it's about experiences. It's about opportunities to see things and do things that you normally wouldn't think that you did. A lot of our industry brethren have brought in amazing opportunities with VIP experience with concerts. I've got a high-end client that did a safari with Hall of Fame tennis players in Africa, and they actually built a tennis court at the base of Kilimanjaro. And so people were paying, good money to be there, but these are the opportunities, whether they be aspirational, inspirational, or whether people can actually do it, that we really want to focus in with Blue Water. When you're dealing, normally you don't think of yachts and planes and things when you're thinking of vacation ownership. But those opportunities are out there, and to be able to put it out there for people and give them the opportunity to see things like that is a lot of fun. If you've ever seen the look on somebody's face, after they've just taken a week cruise through the Bahamas or something, it's pretty amazing.
Well, on another podcast, we had Rob Webb, which you pretty well everybody in the industry knows.
My first attorney in Orlando.
Yeah, phenomenal man. And we're talking at the initial concept of timeshare when it first started, and when Crystal DeHaan and John DeHaan with RCI with the station wagon and the box, and where you own a week, you trade a week, and that was timeshare. That was it. And I look at today, and especially what Blue Water's brought into the program, now you got yachts, you got private experiences, F1, it's gone a long way. So How have you seen that change happen and transgress over the years?
It's funny you say that because when I originally looked at some of the questions you had put together and some of the guidelines, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? When I first got in the industry, longer than I care to remember ago, the first question we'd ask people is, where do you want to go? Well, that's not the question anymore. What do you want to do? You know, what type of experiences do you want? How would you like to take your family to see, you know, an amazing Hamilton in New York? How would you like to do a Napa trip and check out all the wineries and things like that? It's those kind of experiences that bring people together and that really make things memorable. It's not about just sitting in a condo. Here's your key. We'll see you in 7 days, you know?
Well, you know, the industry started as you get 1 week, and there's your week, and you can enjoy for the rest of your life. And when you die, your kids can. And when your kid died, their kids can. That model, I wouldn't say is totally broken, but it's certainly shifted a lot. And our product has evolved from let's make it floating so they're not committed the same week. And that then, well, you can exchange it, and then you can go somewhere else. And then let's create a point system, and let's get it with value. But where is this all going? Are people really buying an asset today, like it's called vacation ownership, or are they buying a program or a membership that gives them experiences that may change from year to year?
I kind of feel like you almost answered your own question in there, just because what we're looking at here, look at the biggest players in our industry. You know, you've got Marriott, you've got Hilton, you've got Hyatt, you've got Disney, you've got Travel and Leisure, you've got some amazing companies. And what are they focused on? They're focused not only on being a brand, but it's a lifestyle, you know? And I've always thought if you're truly going to get the most out of what you're doing, you got to make it a lifestyle so you can touch these people, not just 1 week, as you say, a year, but year round. You know, hey, you want to get away for a nice little weekend getaway, the Cherry Blossom Festival in D.C. You know, do you want to, go on a city cruise? There are a lot of opportunities that we do in addition and a lot of benefits that we're adding. And that's why combining what we've done with vacation ownership over the years and travel clubs, and now what we're trying to do with Blue Water, giving an elite level where people, you know, give us a call and, hey, I need a plane to get me to St. Thomas. You know, we can charter that for you. You know, I've got a good friend of mine that's a member with us, and you know, he's gonna lease out a high-end residence, take one of our yachts, so he's got his family for 4 days in that. 3 days, he's going to take the yacht through the Bahamas. I mean, it's just an amazing experience.
But private aviation, which you touched on, has always been looked at as a very luxurious item, and average person doesn't just rent a jet. And the one time I had an opportunity to fly in a private jet, I thought, this is going to ruin me for traveling for the rest of my life.
It does.
I mean, you're sitting in this sofa.
Especially getting through customs and all, but yes.
Amazing. You come outside, the limo's waiting. It's just, I said, that's it. Now I'm ruined for life. But is it becoming a little bit more mainstream? Is it more attainable than it was in the past?
Well, just look at what's happened in the past few weeks with TSA and everything else. There are a lot of people that have the ability to fly private that are more interested in doing that now because they don't want to go through the headaches of going through the airport and everything. You fly up, you come. Now, to answer your question, it's becoming more accessible too. I mean, yes, we have G4s, we've got Challenger, but we also specialize in these things called very light jets. They're called Vision jets. Honda makes a similar jet. And as one of my private equity guys calls it, it's kind of like an SUV that happens to fly. You know, so you can fit 4 people in it. You can, put a couple sets of golf clubs and everything else. And, you know, it's only about a 700-mile radius, but it gets you where you want to go. It's a great opportunity for somebody to get from Atlanta to the Bahamas like that. And it's not that expensive because the cost of that is probably about 3 to 4 times less than it would be for a normal private jet for something with, 8 people like a G4 or something on that.
See, if you look at the profile, which I'm sure you understand, of an actual vacation ownership person, which is not the person that's looking at necessarily buying a whole cottage as it's not in their budget, maybe not the big fancy motorhome. And they look at vacation ownership as a model that says, no, we'll have access to prime real estate, get a great reduction in price, great savings, and almost like a guaranteed experience. So when you attach something like Blue Water to that model, because of a fairly conservative member, I mean, what is the most attractive component you offer that they are, it can't be the jet. I mean, what's the number?
The jets and the yachts are my favorite. I mean,
Yeah.
we literally had an executive committee meeting on 2 of our yachts, and we just spent a few days together brainstorming, coming up with ideas. But at the same time, swimming with sharks, going swimming with the pigs, doing all the things you do in the Exumas. And, that kind of stuff is pretty amazing to have that opportunity. But back to your point, bringing it to the masses, I remember I learned years ago when I was kind of surprised. I was with Starwood, and who is now Marriott, and we had the St. Regis Club. We were opening up in Vail, and
Colorado.
Yes.
Yep.
And we were out in Colorado, and I grew up in the industry with your little pad of paper and your rent versus own and that kind of thing. And I said, well, how are we going to get to a rent versus own scenario when, these things are thousands of dollars a night?
Yeah.
Well, it kind of got reversed. Like you were talking about people who, even if they can afford a $6 million villa in Vail, they don't want to. They're only going to use it 3-4 weeks out of the year or something. So we sold fractional ownership. We had such pent-up demand for it when we did it. We met our budget in the first 6 weeks of opening, because people saw the benefit. Why should I spend $6 million when for, a couple $100,000, which sounds like a lot of money, but it's a value to them, and they see that value.
On the stunning coast of Ecuador, something extraordinary awaits. The first registry collection project in South America. A destination where luxury meets nature, where every sunset feels exclusive, and every moment is designed to inspire. Welcome to Jama Kempe, where you always want to come back.
So, there's basically 2 types of people. There's people that say, for the price of that one good glass of wine, I can get a whole bottle. And then there's the person say, well, I'm not going to drink that bottle. If I'm going to have a wine, I'm going to have the one glass of nice wine. So less quantity, much higher quality. Is that a model applies to your business?
It does, but I'll also say that person is sometimes on both sides of that. So someday they might be home and find a nice bottle of Orange Swift or whatever at, $40, a nice bottle. But they're out and they have a special opportunity, and yes, they might want to try something that's $100 a glass. So we all kind of take those opportunities, but the key is to cherish the opportunity when you get it. When you get that opportunity to sit with a good friend and have a nice glass of wine and have a conversation like you and I have had over the years, that's what's fun. That's what makes these kind of experiences. That's what makes it into a lifestyle.
You talk to our members, which has always been the source of, for me, where should we go? Because members' experiences, they basically tell you what the industry's got to shift in one ways. And what they tell me is mostly if it wasn't a vacation ownership in our family, we never would have gone there. We never would have stayed in that kind of place. We never would have experienced that kind of event that otherwise was just not feasible for us. And because of vacation ownership, it made it possible.
Well, and I'll tell you, not to bring up a sore subject, but I can remember back at 9/11, when 9/11 happened, and a very sad time in our history. And there was a large resort right down the street, over 1,000 villas. They were operating after 9/11 at like an 11-12% occupancy rate. Okay? Our projects for Marriott and others, we're still operating at a 70-80% occupancy because these people knew they had the vacation. It was a guaranteed vacation for them. I mean, some of our brethren have called it, vacation insurance. But it makes sure that every year you get that opportunity, you put it on, and you get the opportunity to be with your family or take the types of vacations that you want to do with the people you care about and have some amazing opportunity. And that's what we're trying to enhance on and take to a different level. Like I said, they could be aspirational or inspirational, but it's nice to have them there, you know.
Does Blue Water work directly with the developer and the clubs, or is it more of an independent membership?
It's a little bit more independent right now, but our growth is to give this as an opportunity for other clubs, other brands to bring in. Just like there are a lot of companies right now, from Inspirato to Third Home to others, that latch on to those in a good way.
But they cater to a high-end clientele.
And those are the type of clientele that we want to work with. What we found is we call it our 4 pillars. Okay, so our 4 pillars are going to be our aviation, are going to be our yachts and marinas. It's going to then go to luxury residences and then experiences. So these are our 4 pillars. And the nice thing about it, even with another business we have, the people that we're talking to are usually ultra high net worth, which is a high number. But again, we give the opportunity for somebody. It's not always that somebody might have a little extra cash and they want to try something a little bit different. But we give them that opportunity. So it's there, it's fun, it's something that people can really get excited about.
Well, and I think that's the real benefit of our industry. Sadly, the media doesn't always understand the components of our industry. They still think us timeshare, you buy a week and you're stuck at the same resort all the time. And, the good news don't make the news as much as the bad news, but there's over 10 million families in the United States alone that own vacation ownership. Canada's numbers are increasing every year, and not just in Canada, but Canadians are buying in the States, they're buying in Mexico, they're buying in the Caribbean. They're looking for a place that suits their model. So when you're looking at a client, I know you're looking at a more affluent client, but within the vacation model, is a developer kind of find a partnership with you in some ways to offer their clients a even better opportunity and experience?
No, 100% I agree with you. And it's a fair amount, might even be 80% about education and people understanding. But what I have found in my career is that when I get on the phone with an owner or a club member or anything like that, really what the happiest owners I have are the ones that use it and use it consistently every year. They know how to do it. One of the things, I sat with our resort operations person at Starwood years ago, and I was kind of talking to them about their hiring process and how they tiered who had people. And you would think your natural thought would be, well, on customer service, we're going to put our best people with our highest end customers. And he said, no, absolutely wrong. We're going to put our best people with our new owners, people that don't understand it yet. Okay, these higher end people will actually teach my people how to use it because they're using it. They're out there getting that opportunity and having fun with it.
Experiences. My son and I are big F1 fan. Is there anything Blue Water offers that complements?
Well, we have done some things with F1. We're down. We actually did some things with Art Basel. Actually, it reminds me, I just got a message from somebody from F1 that wants us to look at a couple things because they actually incorporate the marina things into it, especially in Miami.
Or Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo, I know. Well, Monte Carlo.
Been there, love it.
That's like the Super Bowl, I mean, that's a great opportunity, and there's some great things there. But it's fun. Our friends at Hilton have done a great job with those, and I'm sure other people will look at those and other opportunities. But it brings about so many other things, even. There could be different levels of what kind of engagement you want in these experiences. I got friends who love to go to the Super Bowl and don't even go to the game. They enjoy everything around it, I got another friend who's going up to the Masters next week, and he doesn't even have tickets to get in, but he knows Pepsi and he knows all the people to talk to and where to get in. Those are the kind of experiences, too. It doesn't always have to be, the Super Bowl.
Well, Michael, you've been such a refreshing face in the industry as we've seen it evolve, because as we started the industry with a very restricted and constricted product, it's evolved into more, not only more transparent, but so much more flexible, giving people not only accommodation, because we started as an accommodation platform, but it's kind of definitely shifting towards experience. And then so when we saw you come in within the industry, and now as the talk is, have you ever used any of Blue Water's asset? It becomes a fun topic.
No, it definitely is. And the other thing too is we bring those ultra high net worth people into the opportunities to do other things, you know, and I even try to tell my people, you know, even people that own their own jet, you know, probably fly commercial 35% of the time. So that's an opportunity. I was just talking to a friend of ours, Jonathan, about Priority Pass and having that into the clubs where somebody could get to the airport early and spend some time, or if they have a long layover. Those are the kind of things that I really see in growing value at different levels. There's tiers. So almost everything we do now is good, better, best.
So from Blue Water perspective, to finish off a little bit is, give me the services you offer. Obviously, the jet is always, for me, that's always been the big bucket list dream, which probably will never happen, but having a jet is having a jet. But from the jet experience to the yacht, what are other services that you offer? What kind of experiences do you offer?
Well, as I mentioned, you know, we concentrate on our 4 pillars, you know, which is the aviation, which is the nautical piece, which is your luxury residences and your experiences. But we are looking to build an ecosystem of our own with a club and that type of thing, where now we get the opportunity to talk to people at different levels and give them the opportunity to, you know, do some things they never thought they'd be able to do. But also from a business standpoint, it's smart for us because we can organically grow our business. We can basically build our own pond, which we can go fishing in at some point for other things. And, you know, what we don't have, we have partners that can help us with that.
You know, people used to be so independent in our business. Now collaboration between government entities, law, associations, and you attend all the events. What do you get out of these things?
Well, it's just even like, you know, the keynote a little while ago was excellent. And some of his things on branding, you know, it's one, you know, I always tell my people too, you know, and you know I've written a couple books and things, but I always tell my people, when you look at a book or something, if you get 5% out of it, that's something, you know? And so I'm listening to this gentleman talk, and, you know, I understand testimonials. I wrote a book on referrals. I get all that. But he mentioned something about a founder's story. And I'm going, oh, geez, we don't have a founder's story. We could use a founder's story, you know, and have something like that. So just that one little pickup is something that I can use.
It can be the smallest thing, but I'll tell you one thing to finish off is, first of all, I want to thank you. Every time we talk, I get a little something out of it. But when we're in discussion with other people and the name Michael Finn comes up, first thing is, really nice guy and fun what he brings to the industry. So I want to thank you for your time.
Well, I appreciate that.
And I want to thank you for listening to this podcast. Michael is a phenomenal addition to the industry and offers experience that may not be available, especially at the same cost. If you'd like to have more information on it, please leave comments below. Michael will be glad to respond to you. In the meantime, I wish you a great day, safe travels. Until the next podcast, bye-bye. This episode is brought to you by Hamakampai, the first vacation ownership project on the northern coast of Ecuador.